Before this season, I never watched a single episode of Love Island. I've seen clips on TikTok. I've passed through rooms where my friends or family members were watching it, but I never sat down to watch it. So I don't know about the craze around Olandria. I know some of the drama where people are like they're a fake relationship. I have also seen some clips about Huda, whatever, and the drama surrounding that, but I never got into the craze. However, I've always been so curious because people gather in bars like it's a like it's a tournament like we're watching, and I wanted to get in on it. So season 8, it's my time. Let's get into what we've seen so far from episodes 1 through 5. Now, I had to take detailed notes here because there are a lot of people coming in and out of this island and a lot of couples or whatever connections forming. So, starting from episode 1, we have Anaya, who is from Georgia. She's 23 and she says she's been praying for her husband. She's 23, and that's the biggest thing that throws me about this show. These people are young as hell. I'm a grandma now. I'm not gonna expose my age, but I'm still not serious about getting married right now. But anyway, Anaya meets Kenzie, who is 24 from Georgia. So they have that in common. She just graduated nursing school and she likes to do splits in the morning, every morning, because she used to be a competitive dancer. Now, next is Melanie, who is 24 from Philly but lives in LA. She's Dominican. She thinks that saying you're a girl's girl is a red flag, and she's a bikini store manager. Varied interests here. Beatrice, who we call Bea, is Mexican. She runs track and field. She's 25 and lives in San Diego. She has a rare birth defect, fibular hemophilia, where part or all of your fibula isn't formed in the sac. She's an athlete. She's a 2-time Paralympian, and she's super confident. And I'm going to say Bea is one of my favorite girls, off the rip. She is confident. A lot of these other girls, and I'm going to put it to age, they're very insecure, especially Melanie, but we'll get into that. Next is Trinity. She's the youngest of the girls, I believe. She's 22. She's a little princess. She quit her hardware store job to come to Love Island, and she wants a guy who calls the shots. And of course, she doesn't want an ugly dude, but nobody in there is ugly. There's just levels of attractiveness in there. Finally, we get to the dudes. We have Bryce, who's 29. He's the oldest, one of the oldest, if not the oldest guy up in there. He's from Hawaii, but grew up in Vegas, currently lives in LA. He's a DJ. He models for brands like Calvin Klein, and he considers himself sensitive and an emotional person. Kenzie calls him a simp, and I'm like, she's using that word wrong, because a simp is a man who will debase himself for the attention of a woman. Bryce is a sensitive, apparently, soul. He is not a simp. Anyway, he's a handyman as well and considers himself a lover boy. He, out of all the guys, I will say has the most layers. But we'll continue. Sincere is 25. He's from Jersey. He does track and field coaching. He's cute, but immediately when I look at him, I'm like, he's a player. The fact that his parents named him Sincere has to be like ironic. He has to be a player. However, I love his hair. Every time I look at his hair, I want to braid it so bad. He's a bookworm and he claims he's looking for a wife outside of the club, and that's why he's at Love Island. Now, I don't know if that's the right place to find a wife. I don't know the statistics of people coupling up and staying together after this show, but me personally, I would not look for a wife or a husband on this show. Zach is 26 and he's from England, has a cutesy accent. Apparently his brother was on the previous season of Love Island. I wonder which one's hotter. I'll go look that up. He loves One Direction, unironically. He sees himself with an American girl instead of girl from England. I don't know how to feel about that. And he likes cats. He also likes a take charge woman, and he shaved everything in preparation for this show. Considerate of him. Sean is 29, and he's the same age as Bryce, so the two of them are the oldest guys there. He's from Wyoming, Virginia, Colorado. He's from everywhere. He's currently a cop. And the red flag about Sean immediately after exiting his 10-year long relationship, he got somebody else pregnant. So he has a son who's 3 years old. And I put in bold here, he said he likes curves and a fat booty. Finally, we have Casey. He's 23, a nursing assistant that wants to be a nurse practitioner. He's from California. He works at a nursing home and he tries to light up women's days by making them dance. He also claims he's never left a woman unsatisfied in the bedroom. If that's true, you're a real one. He can be both a boy and a lover boy. I'm glad that he has, he could do both. Anyway, we get into a compatibility test and about fave sex positions. And I was like, this is the compatibility test? There's nothing, no other questions like about values or background, no, nothing like that. Anyway, this is how they determine who are going to be the first couples to couple up. You choose, or no, this is not how they couple up. This is how they start making out. And I was like, dang, everybody's lips is touching each other. I hope they tested people for STIs and STDs before they came on the show because literally you're touching everyone. Everyone. I was just like, ugh. Anyway, there were some hot kisses in here. The compatibility test started with what's your fave sex position? So we had Casey and Sincere and Anaya choose missionary. Doggy was Sean, and he said he liked to spit in mouths. And Bea, Trinity, and Bryce. Cowgirl was Kenzie, Zach, and Melanie. I pointed out with Sean pinned somebody to the wall. I was like, oh, Anyway, finally, it's time to choose couples, right? And Kenzie chooses Zach. Sincere, Anaya and Melanie chose him, but he ended up choosing Melanie. So Anaya had to sit in the rejection pit with Casey because no one chose Casey. Sean and Bea chose each other. She was his favorite kiss, and clearly he felt the same. So because Casey and Anaya were the only ones left in the pit solo, they've automatically been matched up together. And I was like, this whole situation is awkward to be rejected on TV in such a closed setting with everyone watching, it would set my teeth on edge. But anyway, so the couples explore the villa and they have bedding with no walls. So they're all coupled. I was like, me and my anxious self would be losing my mind up in here. We're sleeping in a room with all these strangers I just met like an hour ago, cuddling up with some strange boy, and tomorrow night it could be a different boy. So the couple start to get to know each other. Sincere and Melanie are both Eagles fans. He asks what she likes to eat for breakfast because he's going to cook breakfast for her. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. I don't think I've ever had a man cook for me except for my dad. And I was like, this is such a cute little concept. Like the boys make the girls breakfast every morning while they're getting ready. I love that. Zach and Kenzie. Zach was a rehab assistant for 2 years, and he says he has a Greek background, which makes sense because he's absolutely gorgeous. He comments on Kenzie's piercing blue eyes, but he says he's never been with a blonde woman, and his type is more darker featured. And I took that to mean he wasn't into her, but she apparently did not see it that way. Like it didn't click in her mind. So, he said he doesn't want to cuddle with her at night because he doesn't want to give mixed signals. With which respect, like he could have just been copying a feel for funsies, but he was being upfront about it. Bryce and Trinity are starting to get to know each other, and he mentions that he fixes garbage trucks, which he feels self-conscious about because, it's a dirty job, but she reassures him and tells him it's not something to be insecure about. He's doing real man shit. He's a real man, and she likes that about him. Then she mentions that she was born in 2003. And when she put it like that, her age really makes me feel like she's a baby. Like, not even hearing her speak or interact with the boys, hearing she was born in '03, because I'm not going to expose my age here, but my God, these are babies we're watching on the screen. And they make out again. Bea and Sean, he says he likes country music. She hates country music. Okay. And she like makes jokes about her disability. She's like, she'd rather get another disability than listen to country music. I just love her. So everyone comes to bed looking sexy. Zach pointedly puts a pillow between himself and Kenzie, so there's no miscommunication about his feelings for her while they're sharing the bed. In the morning, Bryce makes Trinity avocado toast because she's never had it before. And she's like, this is where her immaturity is coming in because she's like, he's so LA. Like, I don't know how to feel about him. She likes the Southern meal. He also made her eggs and pancakes with like sliced fruit. I was like, girl, what are we complaining about? You know what I had for breakfast? Coffee. Straight coffee I made myself. But Bryce also is starting to see like the age gap is kind of interesting. Bryce and Zach have a friendship, and he tells Zach that the age gap with Trinity kind of makes him uncomfortable. And then Zach tells Bryce he's not interested in Kenzie. So I'm glad these two dudes are in line with their feelings, unlike some of the women, and they're being honest with themselves. Now, Bryce did not go to Trinity and tell her like he's uncomfortable with the age gap because, they've been together less than 24 hours. Let's see where this goes. So, after the full 24 hours of them knowing each other, the couples then have to decide if they're going to stick together or explore other connections. And we discover two bombshells are coming in, which are a man and a woman who are coming in to shake things up. And I gotta admit, they're hot as hell, okay? So the current couples stand on either sides of a door, and they choose a green dot or a red dot if they don't want to stay in the couple. So we have some people awkwardly rejecting people. But before we reveal who broke up, let's talk about our bombshells. We have Gabriel, who's 26 and Brazilian. He's a bad boy who says he's not afraid to run off other men. And looking at him, you know he's a bad boy. The moment he said he was from Miami, I was like, it's done. I already know I already know what's about to happen here. Next is Kata. She's 22 from New Hampshire. Her dad is Haitian, her mom is German Irish. She's in her player mode and isn't afraid to step on toes. She did not come to play. She looked like she fight. So when so the women are hidden from the men, and the bombshells come out, and Gabriel makes out with every woman who was on a red dot. And he was throwing in so much tongue in there. I was like, he feels like he's digging down their throats. But it was hot as hell. I'm not going to hold you. Then Kata did the same thing on the other side. Did any of the men choose a red dot? I think so. Okay. The red dots. Here we go. The red dots were Bea, Trinity, Zach, and Bryce. So these people chose not to stay in their couples. Now we move to episode 2. Sincere and Melanie are still together. Casey and Anaya are still together. But Kenzie chose to stay in a couple with Zach. He did not choose to stay with her. And seeing her realize he did not want her, like she opened the door and nobody was on the other side, was so sad. Also, when Sean opened the door, Bea wasn't on the other side, and he was super surprised. Honestly, I was too, because I felt like, despite her dislike of country music, I felt like they vibed well. But maybe she got scared off by the fact he has a kid. I don't know. Anyway, the bombshells take away the red dots for 24 hours. Kenzie, in this time frame while Zach is away, is spiraling. She's like, he wasn't upfront with his feelings. I feel like he politely rejected you. And maybe she's not used to being rejected, so she couldn't realize it was a rejection. But he said, you're not my type. He put the pillow between the two of you. He said he wasn't going to be cuddling up with you. So I don't know where the miscommunication was. However, she was very much in her feelings, and I understand it's an embarrassing moment. Another interesting factoid I've learned about Love Island, the bombshells all share a single bed with the women and men they steal. So it's the three of them in a single bed. I was like, who came up with the concept of this show? So because Kenzie and Sean are left behind, single and vulnerable, and I hate that they say that, Sean was kind enough to make Kenzie breakfast, even though he doesn't have feelings for her. Gabriel, while he has Bea away on their 24-hour bombshell holiday, feeds her fruit, and then he eats the strawberry after she bit it, and I don't know why that did something to me. Anyway, at the end of episode 2, the bombshells have to choose who they want. Gabriel chooses Bea, and Sean actually greets Gabriel like they have no beef with each other when Gabriel joins the house, even though he stole his girl. And then Kaida chooses Zach, which I knew she was gonna do. Look at him. So, because Trinity and Bryce weren't picked by the bombshells, they're on the outs, and they have to awkwardly sit beside each other, even though they both rejected each other. But they get a text on their phones coupling them back together. So I was like, you guys rejected each other for what? You're back together again. And Bea has to awkwardly read Sean's fate after she rejected him. And the text says because he's single, he's vulnerable. And Zach has to read the same text for Kenzie. It's so embarrassing. The people who rejected you have to tell you you're single and vulnerable. It would send me into a spiral. Episode 3, Sean and Bea talk. Bea explains that they weren't together long and thought they'd be exploring everyone. And Sean was saying, like, choosing green means they would focus on each other but still be open to else, like everyone else. Bea says she took it meaning it's more of a commitment. It's too late now because Bea is now with Gabriel. And Sean's alone. Zach tries to talk to Kenzie to apologize and clear the air, but she's like, I'm not trying to hear from you. She blatantly tells him walk away, and he took it well. He walked off. He didn't harass her after that, and respect to him. He realizes she is not in the place to hear from him, and even though he wants to apologize and not make her feel better and also make himself feel better, he recognizes this is not about me. She don't want to talk to me. Boom, walk away. And I'm gonna say a lot of the guys in this show have a certain level of maturity I was not expecting. They are more mature than a lot of the women I've seen in this show. Don't know. I was surprised by that. Maybe I shouldn't be. But it was very nice to see. Kenzie instead focuses her energy on Sean to see what he's into. He says he likes anime and fantasy, but he's never seen Lord of the Rings. You a fantasy fan, but you never seen Lord of the Rings? Then I gotta remember. He's 29. But no, he's not far off from where I am. I don't know. Rant over. Sean mentions in the confessional he wants to get to know Anaya, but ultimately he never really has time. Like, I think they passingly like speak to each other, but nothing ever comes of it because Casey has that on lock. Okay, Sincere pulls Kata for a chat, the bombshell, and he asks how she feels with Zach. Like, he's trying to feel her out. And she asks how he feels with Melanie. They talk about pizza, of all things. They both like pepperoni. It was honestly the driest flirtation I've ever seen in my life. But these are youngins, so they might not know what they're doing. He's super interested in her. But in his confessional, he does this little comparison between women and fish. He said he can fish and catch two different fishes and still like them both equally. Anyway, Bea and Zach try to like role play apologies so they can apologize to their respective people they rejected. It was weird. Kenzie and Gabriel talk, right? She can't remember the Italian she learned because she said she speaks Italian. And I'm choosing to believe it's because the way he's staring at her, he's leaned back, just eyeing her up like he's imagining what you can imagine he's imagining. And she cannot keep her languages straight. She's speaking Spanish. And he's like, you should move to Miami because you love beaches. And everything, I swear to God, that comes out of this man's mouth is an innuendo. He's not saying what you think he's saying. He's inviting you to have sex. So, Melanie and Anaya talk, and Melanie is crying because she's like, Sincere has not spoken to her all day, but he's speaking to Kata, who is gorgeous, and she's the bombshell. I feel like not only does Anaya seem to baby a lot of the people, she seems to be the mother of the group. The men and women, whenever they're having problems, they go to her for advice. And I'm like, she's here to have fun too. Leave her alone. Anyway, Melanie is in her feelings, even though she's known this guy, 48 hours by this point, and just because he spoke to another girl for 5 minutes, she's losing her mind. She's like, he's gonna leave me. I don't know what it is about me. Guys like me, and then suddenly they don't. They get annoyed of me. I'm too clingy. And she's just losing her mind. I was like, girl, chill. chill. You've known him literally only 48 hours. Anyway, Trinity and Kenzie talk. Kenzie says Gabriel makes her kitty purr, but she also wants to get to know Bryce. Nothing really comes out of that. Trinity says she doesn't really know him and their conversations don't really flow at this point, but this might be the level of maturity thing that Bryce mentioned. He talks about some things and she's just like, oh, that's so LA. Like, that's such an older guy sort of thing. And she's not interested, but she's interested in pulling Casey and Sean aside. We see the guys get ready, which is kind of cute because you always see scenes of women getting ready together, but you don't really see them focus on men and seeing them help each other with outfits and shave. I thought that was kind of cutesy. So, Trinity and Bea talk about Gabriel. Bea thinks that they're very compatible, which I disagree with. I don't think anybody's truly compatible with Gabriel because he has not shown one bit of real personality. By this point, he just came showing off his abs, kissing up everyone, and making sexual innuendos. I don't really see what compatibility are we looking at. Everyone's compatible if we're just talking about physicality in this show. But Bea wants to talk to him and make sure they're secure because she's been seeing him talk to Kenzie. We'll see how that goes. They play a game and they found out that Gabriel slept with a 52-year-old and they're all shocked. They're like, oh my God, 52-year-old is not like ancient, okay? Maybe because you're like 22, maybe you think that way. But what I am interested to know is how old was Gabriel when this happened? A 52-year-old and Gabriel is how old? I'll put it on the screen. What age did this happen? Because that's going to color my view of this secret that they revealed. Some of the others reveal other like secrets they were hiding, but the one that shocked me, and I feel like I'm going to get banned for saying this, is that they reveal that Trinity did something inappropriate in the backseat of a car while her mom was driving with him. She did it with a man. Even if you did that, which crazy. Even if you did that, why would you go and admit that on TV for everybody to know? Now your mom's going to know too. Like, I was like, "Ooh, you're a freak," and I'm glad she said it. She's a self-proclaimed freak because it would never occur to me to do something like that. Melanie reveals she ghosted someone because he bought her an engagement ring, and at first I was like, "Ooh," but it happened when she was in high school. It was valid. The guy just wanted to get in her pants, and she lied to him and said she's not doing that until she gets married. So he popped up with an engagement ring. I'm cool with that secret. Like, it's fine. Sincere reveals he's guilty of texting another woman while he was in a relationship. And this also sends Melanie into a spiral. She's losing her mind. She's like, I can't trust him. He says that was years ago. These people are so young. They're going to do stupid shit. But Melanie is just like still spiraling. So Melanie goes up to Kata and she's like, so what did you and Sincere talk about? Like stroking her hair. So what did you and Sincere talk about? He can't talk to other women. And Kata's playing it cool. She's like, nothing. We were just getting to know each other. And conversation didn't really flow from her end. So she's not interested in Sincere. Still, Melanie is keeping her eye on Kata. Sincere pulls Melanie aside for a chat. And she looks hella upset. He insists he only pulled Kata for a chat just to learn about the new person in the house. Melanie acts like she doesn't know Kata's name. Like, the petty games that some women play. She's like, who's that girl again? Yeah, are you actually interested in her? She ends up like self-sabotaging herself because she's so insecure and tells him, go explore other connections. You're not committed to me, whatever, just go. I'm going to do my own thing too. And I was like, this is a textbook case of women self-sabotaging themselves because they feel so insecure. Not once did he say he did not want you. Not once did he say he wanted to break up. But because you see him casually speaking to another woman who's also beautiful, you're going to lose your mind. He blatantly tells her in that conversation he wants to stay in a couple with her, but she can't hear it through her own thoughts. And that's how the episode ends. Now, Episode 4. Gabriel tells Bea that Kenzie isn't his type. And they have cultural differences. Gabriel tells Bea that Kenzie isn't his type because of cultural differences. She tells him that he's her number one. And I really wish she didn't tell him that because it's just going to inflate Gabriel's ego. She also told him he makes her nervous. And I was like, girl, stop telling him all this stuff. He knows. Don't give him any more ammo against you. Melanie tells Anaya about her chat with Sincere, and she tells Anaya she's going to pull Casey tomorrow, which I felt like was grimy. You see, your friend, Anaya, and Casey are the only ones that chose each other up until this point. Things are rocky with your man, so you're going to go mess up her shit? If I were Anaya, I wouldn't trust her after that. You're not going to be my friend after that. Casey tells Gabriel that he likes Anaya because she's not a jealous person. Truly, Anaya's been supportive of everyone. She hasn't stepped on anybody's toes, nothing like that. Bryce and Zach have this romance that I love, and I think I mentioned it before, but you just see them hanging out a lot in the background, and I love that for them. Sean kisses Kenzie in the dark before going to bed, and I was thinking they were going to couple up after that, but they didn't. In the morning, Melanie pulls Casey, and he asks how she feels about Sincere. Casey's like playing it cool. He's not telling, Melanie he has feelings for her or anything like that. Melanie says she still likes Sincere. They have similar backgrounds. They're from the Northeast, and she wants lots of kids, but Casey's like, I'm not sure about that. So I don't know if he was telling the truth or just saying that to get Melanie off his back, but it worked because Melanie is not interested in Casey going forward. They do this thing called office crushes where the women come and strut their stuff in front of the men, and then they kiss someone who they're not in a couple with. It becomes dry rubbing immediately. It's not just kissing. So Kata kisses Sincere as her office crush, and I feel like she did it just to mess with Melanie. And she also says he deserves better, like he needs to promote himself out of his current couple, which Melanie, the camera pans to Melanie's face, and she's like, what the fuck? Trinity ducks Bryce in the slime, which makes him think she doesn't like him anymore, but this is a little girl. She don't know what the hell she's doing. Now we have new bombshells. A new bombshell. His name is Corbin. He looks like a baby to me. He looks like he just left high school. He's 22. He's from Miami. Can't trust him. He tells the guys all the girls kissed him in the back when they weren't looking during that challenge. And Corbin asks them all to leave so he can have some alone time with the girls. Now, during his alone time with the girls, Melanie is putting herself forward, like blocking view of some of the other girls, like Kenzie, who's still single. And Bea tells, after Corbin leaves, Bea tells Melanie, that was kind of messed up of you. Kenzie is single and at risk right now. She needs all the alone time she can get with this single guy in order to stay on the island. And Melanie's like, oh, my bad. And she's like, Bea's like, well, you gonna apologize or something? Their argument was so unnecessary, but I'm gonna admit, Bea's delivery is not the best. She's very straightforward and direct. Melanie is also very oversensitive. She gets so upset, she just gets up and walks off crying. And literally everyone on the island is looking at her like, yo, what the fuck? Anaya tries to speak to her. She's like, give me 10. Give me 10. Give me 10. I was like, what the hell? I was like, are you spiraling, girl? This was a little confrontation. Nobody cursed anybody out. Nobody pushed each other. You two are grown women. Chill. Just talk. Finally, episode 5. Trinity and Bea are still talking. Trinity tells Bea that she was trying to get the last word. Like, she's like, I understand both sides, both you and Melanie's side, but the way you argue, Bea, is that you always need to get the last word, which may come across confrontational. And I'm glad Trinity said this. This was a mature moment for her. I feel like this was the most maturity we've seen out of Trinity, but she seems to be good at giving advice. And Bea's like, honestly, Melanie can dish it, but she can't take it. And she's 100% correct. Also, Bea's like, you know what? I don't care that much about that girl anyway. Which, valid. Just let her go. So, Sean is upfront and tells Bryce he plans to pull Trinity for a chat. And Bryce tells him, go ahead, I'm cool with it. Even though, she and I are in a couple right now, she's always open to exploring connections. Which, like I said, these two dudes, like all the men in this show, almost all the men except for Gabriel, seem to be very mature men. Like, I love this about them. And Corbin and Kenzie chat. She likes country concerts, and he claims he's never been to a concert, any type of concert. And I'm like, what? But you know what? He's a young thing. He a young thing. He says Kenzie is his type. Her eyes are mesmerizing. I knew she would be his number one. Don't ask me why I knew that. Melanie talks to Sincere, and she's crying about how insecure she feels, and he's reassuring her. And it was a sweet moment I didn't expect from him. I thought he would take that out she gave him and just go explore someone else. But he was like, he wants to be a listening ear for her and be there for her. Kata pulls Corbin for a chat from Kenzie. He asks who's in charge of like cooking breakfast. And he's like, would you like accept breakfast from a second guy? She's like, yeah, I would too. Now the awkward thing is, he keeps like asking for a kiss from her. And she keeps saying no, but he keeps asking again. And I can't stand this about people. If I say no 1, 2 times, why are you asking again? Now you're just going to make me mad. So I'm proud of Kata for not giving in. Then Trinity pulls him next. He shares a little more information about himself. He has a brother and sister. He and Trinity are both the youngest child in their families. He thinks she's pretty and soft-spoken, and he wants a family to provide for, like a traditional provider. And she wants a white picket fence type of life because she didn't have that growing up. And I felt like this was a cute little conversation. Anaya takes Corbin next, and she asks what his type is, and he says he likes a good body. He likes an extrovert and someone he can bring to professional settings because he likes to do business. I don't know what that means. I think he's 22. I wonder how in deep he is in his entrepreneurial spirit, but at least we're getting more information out of him. And she also learns that he has been in 2 long-term relationships in his life. Sean pulls Trinity for a chat, and she says she doesn't want to step on any toes like Kenzie. And I think this is like Trinity saying she's thinking more about Kenzie's feelings, and also maybe she's still thinking about Bryce. So Casey and Anaya have a nice conversation about colorism, especially as a Black woman, and he was making her feel a bit sensitive because she didn't even bring it up. He brought it up, and I've heard that Love Island, especially Love Island UK, it can be very tough for Black women. I mean, dating is tough for Black women. So this might have been something that Anaya's had in the back of her head, and no one else has spoken to her about on this show. She has been there consoling everyone else, and this might have been a fear she's had inside and not able to share with anyone. So I found it very sweet that Casey brought it up and reassured her and let her know, yes, you are beautiful. And I'm in it for the long haul with you. So I'm starting to like them more and more as a couple. They're not the throwaway people. They're the ones that found each other despite everything. Trinity and Bryce also had a really nice conversation. She tells him that growing up, she was not the ideal beauty standard in her community, the Black and Hispanic community, because they prefer larger bodies, more curves, more ass, more boobs, and she doesn't have that. She's more slim. So she did not feel beautiful growing up, but he tells her she's the ideal body type for him. So it was such a cute little reassurance he gave her, and I'm rooting for them. So Corbin gets a text saying that tonight at the couple's like bonfire, he is going to be able to choose who he wants first. No one else knows this going in. They think just the girls are going to be choosing who they want. So Sean is hoping against hope that Kenzie's going to choose him, because it was just the two of them prior to that. They were the ones vulnerable together. They were starting to get to know each other. He's been making her breakfast, kissing her, all this stuff. But Corbin chooses Kenzie first, which I was honestly surprised about. I thought he was going to choose Kata. But because he chose Kenzie, Kenzie is not free to choose Sean. So when all the rest of the couples, rest of the girls are choosing who they want to couple up with, At the end of episode 5, we have Anaya choosing Casey because she felt the conversations flowed and she felt reassured by him and he made her feel giddy. Melanie choosing Sincere. Kata feels giddy and learns new things with Zach. Like he taught her that chai also means tea, so saying chai tea is just redundant. Bea chooses Gabrielle, which I wish she didn't, because she's always felt like she's had to be a tough girl growing up, but with him, she feels soft and feminine, which when she puts it like that, damn, damn, I have to root for them. Trinity says even though they haven't had many conversations, there's a spark. She feels she can talk to this person. He makes her feel heard. She wants to explore the connection with them. And the way she was talking, it made me think she was going to choose Sean for sure. Like, there's no way the producers didn't set that up to make us worry because I was stressed. I was like, she's not going to choose Bryce? She ends up choosing Bryce. He's so excited they can make out. He gets her lipstick on the side of his face. And I'm happy for them. But Sean is left standing at the end. He gives this sad little speech about not being chosen and wanting to be that person that the girls had spoken about, feeling comfortable with him, feeling giddy. He wanted to be that person for someone, and unfortunately it didn't happen. Everyone starts crying and he is kicked out of the villa. And I was like, dang, that's it for him? Even though at the beginning he wasn't my favorite guy, I grew to like him, and I'm kind of sad to see him go. But the preview for episode 6, which drops tonight, shows we're gonna have like 3 or 4 more bombshells, and I'm like, ooh, some of them. That Southern boy, I love me a Southern boy. He's gonna shake things up. I'm super excited about this. But which couple are you rooting for to make it to the end of this? I am now cheering for Trinity and Bryce and Casey and Anaya. I'm also rooting for Zach, but I don't know if I want him with Kata. I don't think so. But I also feel bad for Kenzie. She's such a sweet girl. But let me know who you're rooting for. Who do you think is going to make it to the end? Do you think the bombshells are about to break up some couples? Because there's no way Melanie and Sincere ended to make it to the end of this. But don't forget to follow, like, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. And I'll catch y'all next time.